Okay, may I begin? Good. Okay, so item 1.1 is apologies for absence and declarations of interest. Do we have any apologies?
Apologies received from Councillor John Neese, Mayor, and Councillor Ryan Fuller is attending on his behalf. Just so you're aware, Councillor Fuller will need to leave at 11:20.
Okay, fine, that's no problem. Welcome, Ryan. And so therefore we move on to item 1.2 on the agenda. Oh, Josh, you put your hand up.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. Good morning, all. Just to say, and this is just for absolute transparency, on item 2.6, Soham Railway Station, I'm a trustee of a charity, Viva Arts and Community Group, who are currently building a premises, a new theatre in Soham, and it is very close to where the proposed station is going to be. And I understand there may be discussions around the car parking facilities and potential overflow that may be offered by the charity to the station if it's required, which I'm sure it won't be. But I just thought for absolute transparency, I'd mention that I'm a trustee of that organisation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Josh. And good to see the work started, by the way, down the road there, so that's great news. So item 1.2 is the minutes of the agenda of the 8th of July. Councillor Bates.
Oh, thank you and good morning, James. Okay, I'm referring to page 8 for members, 93 for their reference. Okay, so if they like to find that, it will be much appreciated. They can then follow what I'm about to say. It's on behalf of Councillor Roger Hickford, who, as you know, is Deputy Leader of Cambridgeshire County Council and also currently the Chairman of the Greater Cambridge Partnership. And my question really is, or his question is, when will the timetable for the alternative route be available for this committee? So that's the question, James. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, and that's a very valid point. And clearly, we've been working on this. We have a significant body of work completed already. However, I've been trying to get a working arrangement, an official working arrangement, with the Greater Cambridge Partnership now for 3 years. Finally, under government instruction, the Greater Cambridge Partnership have offered me a place on their board as a non-voting member. It is my intention to take up that position, and from that position, the next the next Greater Cambridge Partnership meeting, I will propose that we work together, given the work that we have done on an alternative C2C route, to deliver the route as promised and as has been discussed. There is no intention at any stage of not delivering a route between St Neots and Haverhill, but it has always been my ambition to make sure that we look at this particular section between Cambourne and Cambridge in the round, and also that we listen to the general public and their concerns, the concerns of the villages of Coton and of Hardwick along the way, which is imperative, I believe. But we also get the best possible solution that links in not just for Cambourne to Cambridge, but for St Neots to Haverhill. So there is a significant amount of work that's already been done, but my proposal is that if we are to complete this in a proper and robust manner, we need to do so as a working partnership, an official working partnership with the Greater Cambridge Partnership, and that is what I intend to propose at the next meeting of the GCP. Okay, is
Thank
that
you.
okay?
Thank you.
Councillor Massey.
Hi, James. My question was on a similar theme. If I can just go back to Councillor Bates' question, I'm not clear whether you answered the question as to whether when the timescale will be put forward. I'm pleased to know that you'll be working closely with the GCP, and that's always going to be a welcome thing. My question was also on, I think it's on page 8 of the same thing, page 7 and 8, in the action points. I understand that what was sent to the GCP in regards to the Jacobs review that was provided, that there was no update to the Jacobs review. So I'm not clear as to why that action wasn't taken. So the action point is again on page 8, but the question was on page 7.
Okay, I'll have to bring in an officer on something technical like that. So if I may ask Mr. Rains, perhaps if he could help us there.
Yes, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not absolutely clear what the question is. response to the Jacobs review? Is that the focus? Yes. So some papers have been sent across, and those will be there are working discussions going on at officer level between GCP and the combined authority. As the mayor said, that's leading up to what will be his first meeting as a member of the GCP board, and so we're taking those papers into account as part of those conversations, as I understand it. We can give you more detail perhaps after the meeting if you need that.
So the update will be given to the GCP board at the time of the mayor's meeting with them. Is that correct?
Again, I need to be clear exactly what the question is, but if this is about the review which Jacobs undertook of the C2C route,
yes, which
I know GCP officers have then been doing more work on and have sent some material back. Yes, that will all be part of that lead up to October.
Okay. Okay.
Councillor van der Veer.
Yes, so I had some questions, but just on on this point briefly as well. So yeah, my recollection, and I think that's really what's reflected in the minutes, is that we discussed about how the Jacobs report hadn't completely taken into account all of the work that had been pretty much going on at the same time as the development of it, and in particular, and that was published for the Joint Assembly in May, June. And I think what was discussed was that there would be an updated version of the Jacobs report made available to the GCP for the response. I mean, so that to ensure that whatever things that had been addressed at the on the OBC work on C2C was included. But yeah, if you were able to have a look again at that. I mean, in terms of how it was expressed in the minutes, is an action point. Yeah. So similarly on the timescale, there's a specific point in the minutes about Bourne Airfield and how that interacts. My recollection was that there would be some information provided to the committee about what could be constructed and when. I'm aware that there has been some ongoing discussions about that. I think it would be appropriate to update the committee when it's possible. I realise my understanding is that's not possible now, but I think in the context of this, that would be important to bring an update to that, and that I think isn't quite reflected in the minutes. I think my major point about the accuracy of the minutes is actually the next paragraph, the one that says reiterated the importance of looking at the CAM project as a whole. I believe that was absolutely stated clearly by you, Mayor. I think there's a bit more nuanced views around the committee, and I wouldn't want this to be there to be a risk of this minute misconstruing the committee's views in a way that allows the impression to be given that there was sort of unanimity on exactly what should happen. I mean, there's an interesting discussion to be had, but I think it's important that there was not a decision made by the committee on this, and that there is a risk the minute, as stated as it is, does give that impression. And then my final question is about the decision that we actually made. As Mr. Rains referred to, there is the Greater Cambridge Partnership has responded to the report. So we decided last time to release the report, Jacobs' report, to the combined authority. I think we now need to consider how to consider their response, and I think given the acknowledged urgency of the whole project, and in particular of delivering Bourne Airfield and the route from Camborne to Cambridge, I think there is an urgency to doing that. So I was certainly disappointed that we didn't have that opportunity now. But if we were able to clarify what steps could be envisaged to allow us to consider that, that'd be very helpful. Thank you.
I'm slightly confused, Councillor Van der Veer. You know, of course, and I was in a meeting with you last week where we met with the developer of Bourne Airfield, and of course you're also fully aware that there are now routes, new bus routes that have been launched by the combined authority that allow that developer to start work on Bourne Airfield, and the timeline in which we wish to develop out the correct solution for Cambridge to Cambourne, including the St Neots route, will be well within that. Of course, you were chairman of the Greater Cambridge Partnership at the time that they did not take forward the C2C route. So the urgency that you talk of now was not an urgency that you felt at the time. And you know, I feel that the Combined Authority is being incredibly proactive here to solve this solution. And the only way that we can actually solve it is by a combined working ethic at proper level, at political level, with the Greater Cambridge Partnership. Equally, I think we're all very, very aware that the BCRs for routes outside of the metro, outside of the Cambridge area alone, are very, very low, and the BCR of the tunnel section alone is very, very low. So in order to make this system work, which we all, I'm sure, want, we have to join it up and we have to work collaboratively to do so. That's entirely my intention, but equally, we have to learn from the mistakes of the past, and rushing through transport to feed a local plan is not necessarily the right way of doing things. In actual fact, I would say it's entirely the wrong way of doing things. I think we should inform our local plans on the back of our transport solutions rather than the other way around. And the evidence base that I will offer to the members of this committee would be the state of Cambridgeshire's highways and transport solutions, because not through any fault of anything other than lack of finance, we have had to make decisions on planning based on the need for houses rather than need for transport. And if we continue to do that, we will continue in the failures of the past. And we know that we're all working to an agreed solution through the Combined Authority Independent Economic Review, the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Independent Economic Review, which gave us very clear indication that unless we invest properly into world-class public transport, the economy in Cambridgeshire will go backwards. My concern is that we're already seeing the seeds of that now, with Cambridge dropping to 6th in the university rankings. And I think we have to be mindful that decisions made should not be to rush through incorrect transport corridors just for housing, but to put forward the right transport corridors that bring forward housing solutions. And I think that that's exactly what we can achieve with proper collaborative working at a political level. Are there any other comments on the minutes of the 8th of July? Okay, so we go forward to the forward plan. Any comments on the forward plan at all? No. So then we go on to public questions. Any public questions? No public questions.
Sorry, there is one.
There is.
I'm just going to bring the gentleman. Is
Okay,
James Boyle?
Mr. Jim Boyle.
Mr. Boyle?
Yeah, sorry, I think I was muted at your end. Yeah, so it's a question about the changes in the bus service between St Neots and Cambridge. So this was announced on the 28th of August, and an article headed Mayor delivers on promise of new bus routes to link Cambourne to Cambridge. The article announced that the X5 coach service between Bedford and Cambridge will be discontinued and replaced with a double-decker bus service, number 905. That's a significant downgrade in terms of onboard facilities. But more importantly, the new service takes a much slower route to central Cambridge. It takes a lengthy detour via Cambourne, and then via the Science Park and North Cambridge, rather than the established direct route along Madeline Road, which uses Madeline Park and Ride as a hub for services to Addenbrooke's and the biomedical campus. So the question really is, why was the downgrade to service for St Neots and Bedford approved by the Transport and the Infrastructure Committee? And if so, why was there no consultation with the public or with St Neots representatives?
Could I bring Mr. Rains in, please, to...
Yes, of course, Mayor. So there is a reply to this question, which I'm just getting. So let me read the reply here. So the combined authority is committed to doubling